Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman throwing out this morning that Kevin Fiala talks are intensifying, and maybe we're inching towards a deal for the Minnesota Wild forward, who is a pending restricted free agent with arbitration rights. Fiala coming off just a tremendous season, 85 points in 82 games. He hit the 30-goal plateau as well, and he's only 25 years old. The Wild can't afford to keep him because they have, north of $12.5, $13 million committed in dead cap space to Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. So Fiala is going to move. It's just a matter of where. And there is reportedly a long list of suitors. Mike, my question to you, if you're a team, or what teams out there do you think could be interested in acquiring Fiala?
Oh, quite a few. I mean, it's not often that you have an 85-point player that comes onto the market. 33 goals last year for Fiala, and he did a lot of that in the second half of the season. He was red
Yeah.
hot. Playoffs didn't particularly go great for him the last 2 years, and I think the Wild are looking at Matthew Boldy to really take a step forward and potentially fill that space. But let's think about these teams. I mean, you look who has cap space: Ottawa, New Jersey. Those teams are both at the top of the list. They could easily use Fiala to slide into their lineup to play wing with some of the talented centermen that they both have, and they have the space to do it. Fiala's going to command north of $6.5 million, I think, maybe even seven on the RFA market would be logistical for somebody that's going to be locked up to a long-term contract. But I'll toss one team out there I'm curious about is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've got 2 first-round picks in 2022. They got $21 million in cap space, and they do have to get Patrick Laine sewn up, provided he wants to stay there, Adam Boquist. But
Yeah.
that's a team that kind of might be a little sleeper here in the offseason that I've had my eye on. But I think Ottawa and New Jersey, Tyler, would make a lot of sense for Fiala. What about you?
Yeah, there's a few teams that I'm interested in. First off, when I was kind of looking through candidates, focusing on teams that are strong down the middle, I think, right? If you're looking to add
Mm-hmm.
a goal scoring winger like Kevin Fiala, you need to have some talent for him to play with. And one team that hasn't been maybe talked about a ton, but I'm interested in is the LA Kings. They have a little bit of money to spend this offseason. Down the middle, they're set. Kopitar, Danault, and a young Quentin Byfield as well. They're going to be real good down the middle for a while with all three of those guys either locked up or under team control. And they have a pretty deep prospect system as well. So if they wanted to go take a shot at a guy like Fiala, it would certainly make sense. Another team out west, because we've talked a little bit, you mentioned Ottawa, New Jersey, teams in the East. The Seattle Kraken, they're itching to make a big splash, and they have a ton of
Mm-hmm.
draft picks. They maybe don't have the strength down the middle that would allow them to, maybe give a strong sentiment for Fiala to play with. But I think Seattle's itching to make a big splash, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of in on all these Fiala-esque conversations.
No question. I mean, the Kraken are kind of the big X factor in this offseason. They have so many draft picks that Ron Francis has amassed through some of the moves that he made at this past trade deadline. So I think for every player, it's worth keeping an eye on the Kraken because they've got plenty of cap space and they definitely have a willingness to improve very quickly.